Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast.
Coming to you out of SideQuest Studios, this is the Simpsons Index, episode 234. Hello out there, I'm your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill, and joining me here as always, except when he's not, is BT Calloway.
Hoi hoi.
And joining us for the first time, comedian Marty Bright.
Greetings, friend.
Alien dude needs 2 tickets to Pearl Jam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice.
Thank you for joining us for the Simpsons Index. We review Simpsons, and we have on people who are enthusiastic about the Simpsons, like yourself, Marty. So we like to ask our first-time guests, where did the show begin with you? What is your Simpsons history?
Well, I think, as I'm sure a lot of your guests will relate with, Fox 8, Saturday morning Simpsons.
Yeah, man.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I watched my share of 6 o'clock
Channel 10
before Neighbours, but the memorizing of the lines and the rewatching of episodes over and over again and seeing new angles to the plots, that was definitely Fox 8 on a Saturday or Sunday morning, to the point where I would play PlayStation. I'd play FIFA, but I'd put the audio from the Foxtel in.
Oh,
so
nice.
I'd be playing FIFA and just listening to the episodes.
Yeah.
Because I already knew visually what was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my multitasking ability. And then, I think there was a big gap where I think for a lot of people until it came onto Disney. Because Foxtel, obviously, there was a gap where people weren't able to watch The Simpsons frequently because it wasn't on a streaming service yet.
Yep.
But people had caved in and got rid of their Foxtel. So
Because fuck Foxtel.
yeah, exactly. And just recently, obviously, I've got someone else's Disney login.
I mean, don't we all?
Yeah. And then, recently I started, flash forward to recently, just started doing the Springfield trivia and sing-along with a musician named Lachlan Harvey. And we've done a few shows, and so it's
Reinvigorated
and snapped some dormant memories and lines out of nowhere that I didn't even know was still in my storage.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, tell us more about that, because I think this is the first time we've had a Simpsons trivia host on the panel. So you work in sing-alongs as well?
Yeah, well, I've done Simpsons trivia nights before at different venues and themed prizes and themed interactive games and things like that. But then I met a friend who was on similar par of fanaticism to me, and he's a musician. He can learn a lot of songs very quickly. And I'm a musician too. I play percussion and the ukulele and I can sing. So we just decided, we'll just do a hybrid. And we learned a lot of the favorite songs, a lot of people's favorite songs, and then also tried to dig up some random ones that no one would expect.
Yeah.
Sure. Deep cuts.
Yeah. So, we've done it twice now, but we're definitely, based on the response from the people, we're definitely going to do it more.
Oh, cool. So around the Sydney area?
We will, eventually. I just definitely want to try and find a venue that's on board and as supportive as the Newcastle Comedy Club, that's where we did the last one.
Oh, cool.
Because you definitely need, when you're dealing with instruments and tech in terms of like projectors, and you want a venue that's not just going to go, do it yourself. You want a venue that's invested and
absolutely.
Maybe even loves The Simpsons themselves.
Very nice.
And with the trivia, do you cap it off at the classic era, or do you delve into the weeds of after post-classic?
Lachlan and I are pretty staunchly classic only.
Yeah.
But we've had no complaints about that.
It's true.
Strange. Because we went to a Simpsons trivia night like fucking ages ago, pre-pandemic, and
fucking owned it.
Yeah, fucking smashed it. But that's because they were doing outside of the classic era trivia questions, and we were like, haha, we do know Selma's other fucking 8 husbands that she's had now, and all that stuff. So going off of that, now that you've got a Disney Plus login, have you delved into the recent episodes? Where are you at with the show now? Do you still watch the new ones, or?
I do not watch the new ones. I have had a few people nudge me in the direction of, hey, be open to it. And I'm yet to be convinced to go on a deep dive, mainly because there's quite a few other, I can only really have 1 or 2 series that I'm emotionally invested in at a time.
Yeah.
And so when someone says, go have a deep dive, I'm like, I'll put it on the back burner until maybe another pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if only there was a handy spreadsheet that would tell you what some of the better episodes from the latter seasons are. Wonder where you'd find that, SimpsonsIndex.com.
Somewhere on the World Wide Web, but who can tell?
Interslice.
Seamless, really. No one's ever going to know.
But no, it's a very common answer, and unfortunately, I didn't do much to convince you, I don't think. Not to get ahead of my rankings too quickly, but yeah. So today we're going to be reviewing Season 30, Episode 15, 101 Mitigations. First released in March of 2019, it was directed by Mark Kirkland, story by Rob Lazebnik, teleplay by Brian Kelly and Dan Weber. In this episode, Homer takes comic book guy's dad's Cadillac for a joyride and gets a scuff on it, and comic book guy threatens to sue, and Homer sets on trying to make a video pleading his case that he is a good person to the judge. Hey guys, what do we think?
It is.
It's
Yep.
So did we convince you to check out any more new episodes?
I mean, it's what it is. What I see is obviously they try and do episodes where they pull in a side character and try and give them more backstory.
Yeah.
But sometimes they make a backstory that doesn't really match up with what we know of the character up to that point.
Yeah.
And that I felt also comic book guy is one of the least likable characters. When they go deep dive on Mo or Principal Skinner or Krabappel, I'm like, oh, there's heart in that.
Yeah, but comic book guy is intentionally abrasive. Like, that's the point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's very hard to hinge a story on him. Like, we were surprised when we watched the episode where he dates Agnes Skinner, and that works out, and that was quite funny.
Well, just a funny pairing of two of the most abrasive people working together, basically.
Yeah, but then when he got together with Edna, that was, like, super shallow. And I get what you're saying, Marty, because, like, yeah, I'm feeling a lot of that towards this as well. Like, and it's like the story isn't even going that hard in on his character development in quotes here.
There are some weird choices made here in what stands out for me, or better or worse, but I'll wait for that question.
May as well. BT, what stands out to you for better or worse?
First of all, Brody knob.
Brody knob.
So I've driven forklift for many years, and there's like the knob on the steering wheel that helps you steer a back-steered, vehicle. Didn't ever know what it was called. Now I know it's called a Brody knob. So thank you, Simpsons.
In all of your forklift training, and
they never were like, what the fuck is the name of this knob thing? It was just the steering wheel. But no, the point I want to make is, so Homer takes comic book guy's car for a joyride, comes back, and the car's a little bit scuffed, and comic book guy's mad, but doesn't really get angry at Homer until he notices his Radioactive Man issue 1 is damaged. But so what they kind of circle for a while is this sort of notion that it's comic book guy's attachment to it should be his attachment to the car is the problem, because that's the idea, that it's a sentimental attachment, because Homer's even like, I'll buy you another comic book, and he's like, no, that's not good enough. And so the subtext of that is, it's not about the value, it's about the emotional connection to the item. But what resolves the issue is Homer buying him another comic book and understanding that when comic book guy destroys something he cares about, that's what he inflicted on him. But the car is never the point. Despite the fact that it should be. Like, I was really confused why they had both the comic book and the car being items of comic book guys that was damaged, because you need one or the other. So if it had been, he took it for a joyride, that sucks, fine. Wait, no, my comic, which is where we start. But it's like all the sentimentality is tied around comic book guys' feelings towards this object, which is the car, but that's not resolved.
Yeah.
So it's really confused in that sense. So, I don't know. What do you all think?
No, and the comic book comes out of fucking nowhere as well.
Yeah.
It's just all of a sudden jammed in the thing, and it's like, was not even set up with like a Bart found it in the back seat and started reading it.
Yeah, and opened it and read it there.
Yeah.
When I watch like Rick and Morty, or when I watch, there's lots of Ren and Stimpy, lots of other animated shows. Obviously, when it's animated, you can go anywhere because you don't have to build a set. You can say, hey, why don't we imagine something and we can just animate it.
Yeah, and you can change the voice actors and no one can tell the diddly difference.
Exactly. With those shows, I think I can tell if the writers are going to be on drugs. Make sure you're all on the same drugs. So you sync up with creative flow. Whereas I feel like the Simpsons writers, some of them are jacked on coffee. Some of them are on like having edibles. And like that's my
NyQuil.
That's my facetious theory, is that there's no synchronicity in the frequency, which is
Couple of
why it
shelved
bounces
pingers.
around so much. Because you're like, oh, and we've got a plot and change, complete U-turn. Like Marge is getting a Swedish massage at the beginning,
Yeah.
That's
and
irrelevant
that's just
to
a complete non sequitur.
for
And
some
I think
visual jokes that are just weird.
that's what I noticed. There was a lot of like slapstick physical jokes that obviously didn't rely on the writing. They rely on the animation. And there was even one scene where Bart is like whispering something to Homer at the
that guy.
table.
Oh,
and it
fucking
like,
went
it's like a
forever.
very Family Guy-esque, you know, like when he hits his knee
over
in
Yeah.
Family Guy and he's like,
Yeah.
and it goes on for too long and then they never resolve it.
But the idea being it's meant to be inherently funny because it's going so long. But yeah, that one really, because I started writing down, okay, Bart is whispering, it's taking a long time. And I had enough time to write that entire sentence and it was still going. And it's like, are you giving him an entire back history of the, you know, comic books boom and crash? Like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
And there was no out to the joke either. It just trailed off with Bart whispering and cut to the next scene. And
But then that would also piss me off. The cost of the comic was then not an issue.
Yeah.
Homer just buys it. And it's like, you have Bart take literally what must have been 15 seconds to do this whisper gag. And it has no payoff.
Yeah.
I wonder, because this is what I know. I worked in before and after school care and like vacation care for a while. And I started going to, as a regular excursion, they take you to the movies in the school holidays and you'll see whatever the like, you know, Meet the Robinsons or
Yeah, whatever kid-friendly thing is out.
what's the one, Bolt, about the dog.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
So I've seen a lot of these films that a lot of adults probably haven't seen because I was getting paid to see them with groups of kids and other staff members. And I remember I saw the one about the video game, the guy in the video game. Is it Wreck-It Ralph?
Yeah.
The second one, and also the Lego movie. The pace of the films is so frantic.
Yeah.
And the kids are fine with it.
Yeah.
Because
right.
that's what they're used to visually and that's what they're used to in the speed of the dialogue. And when something's going that fast, not everything is linked and makes sense. And that's what I noticed with this episode of The Simpsons. I was thinking, this is obviously made with the lens of who they want it to appeal to. And they want it to appeal to younger people because younger people will be viewers / customers for longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people have said that before that, oh, this isn't comedy for me. I know it's aimed at younger. I don't know if it's hitting younger though. Like, I don't know if the youth watch this show. Youth, if you're listening and you're not, do you watch this show?
Yeah. It's a shame that Disney doesn't release the stats of like how
I'd be
many
so
people are
curious.
streaming
Like,
each season and each
And
episode.
who? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get the data when so many of us are sharing
Like,
our Disney Plus logins. But
I could be 100% wrong, but I work with some freaking Gen Zers. I'm gonna ask them tomorrow.
if they
Do
watch
you
Simpsons.
watch Simpsons? Yeah.
But no, I agree. Like, and they're cramming in so much in the background. I think it's a trait of like the HD when they got widescreen. They felt
They
whatever
felt like
they
they had to use it.
Yeah, but what's a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
Well, to be honest, I haven't watched many episodes from these later seasons, and what stood out to me was the opening credits.
Yeah, sure.
Because I think I've seen that once before, and I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't as tacky as I thought the rest of the episode was, just in terms of bringing a few extra characters in, and a few sound effects. And I thought that the couch gag that they had with everyone being cups and getting that was quite clever.
Yeah.
I'd prefer to sit there for 22 minutes and watch every couch gag compilation
Yeah.
Yeah,
if they're of that quality, because it's all physical.
It was,
and it's not claiming to be otherwise.
that one was
Yeah.
mostly pretty good. I was fine with the visual. I didn't like the bit where Homer falls down, fine, because he's the beer cup. But then he goes, refill. I'm like,
Yeah, that's a very
that was very
juvenile punchline.
Yeah, I think just having them as cups, fine. Having Homer fall over, fine, because he's the beer cup. I get the idea that, because he's the beer cup, he's drunk, therefore falls down. That's fine. It was just that extra bite, like, you had to go that one extra one, didn't you?
Yeah.
it was more reminiscent of the couch gags of old because, like, if you haven't seen a lot of the new seasons, then you wouldn't have seen a lot of the couch gags. They're just using like as an excuse to do like a minute and a half parody of something else that exists. Like, they'll just break out into some fucking movie parody for the couch gag.
Yeah,
and,
whereas this is, tight visual gag, and that's it.
quick punchy joke.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, what stands out to me from this episode, and I think they were so close in doing like a comic book guys just doing all this to try and get a friend or something like that, but that part of the story comes in so late, and they've already spent way too much time on Homer making this movie to appeal to the judge.
Because by that point, it's a punchline. It's not a plot point.
And yeah, them hanging out at Comic-Con, Homer's like, is prison still an option?
Well, that's the thing, because I really thought this was going to be about the car and his connection with that because of his father. That was set up, but it wasn't a plot point after it was set up. And it's like, so why did you set that up?
I thought it was going to be about the Swedish massage therapist.
Yes.
Marge starting a therapy with the guy who can like literally tie her in knots.
Yeah. Stop blowing my sacks. I mean, blowing your sacks.
I mean, when you can, I'm going to mispronounce this, the Shibuya knot with your own limbs. That's kink. Shibari, thank you.
You say Shibuya?
I don't know, man.
Shibuya.
I don't know.
Sounds like a Street Fighter onomatopoeia.
Shibuya.
Yeah, the alternate to Hadouken.
Yeah, it's Dalsim. Kinky Dalsim.
See, there's a guy you could tie in knots.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd be into that shit.
So when we're talking about Simpsons, we like to sort of think about the two pillars, the two things we feel like define the show and make the classic episode so great. We talk about the wackiness and the heart. So how were the wacky moments in this episode? How did they manage the cartooniness of it all?
All my notes for whack are largely front-loaded in the beginning. So when they're taking the comic book guy's car for a spin, I like Homer's line of push all the buttons, pull all the levers, see what they do. And then the roof begins to go back, and then it catches the wind, and they make an extended chitty chitty bang bang bit, which, hey, this is what makes me feel like it can't be aimed at kids. They don't fucking know what that is. I know what it is, but I've never seen the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it goes on as well. And then let's see, he blows the horn, and it's such an old school car. It blows the other car off the road from the horn alone. And yeah, then
that other car looks like comic book guy's actual car. Sorry, nerdy shit to get hung up on, but yeah.
And then Marge tied in knots with her own limbs. Raises a lot of questions. What happened to Marge's bones? Do we know?
And does she have one in her hair? Because
yeah, I mean, technically, okay. So as she's relaxing, her hair begins to tilt down. This implies that her hair is full of like blood vessels that when relaxed,
not bones.
Yeah. So
it was quite a phallic image, wasn't it?
I mean, I got nowhere else to go other than say her hair works like a penis. Sorry for that image, everybody, but this is what we're being told by the show.
Yeah,
Soz.
There's a long-standing fan theory that Marge actually has bunny ears under there now.
Yeah, it could be the bunny ears. That works. I could have said that instead of penis, but we're in penis territory now. Buy a t-shirt.
New theory. Jesus. New theory. Marge has penis head. One of the wacky things that stood out to me was Guillermo del Toro is in this episode.
Oh yeah, that's right. Fuck.
And he produced a movie to Mr. Burns. How did we like this?
But this was his actual voice, correct?
Yeah, the man himself, Mr. Del Toro.
Yeah, because he's done a couch gag for them before. As part of the Treehouse of Horrors, he did like an extended montage through Halloween classics. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is he involved in any of the parallel Disney shows or films? Or, I mean, I suppose once you're in that circle of trust, you're in.
Almost. He's got a Pinocchio coming out. I don't know if that's through Disney though. It's probably not.
Oh no, it was.
It is. Okay, there you go.
Well, no, I saw.
No, there is Disney released a Pinocchio, and now Del Toro's releasing one soon.
Yeah, that's through Netflix though, isn't it?
I must be. Yeah. Yeah, because it would be public domain.
Because anytime I see a guest appearance, I start to think, what are they trying to plug? What are they trying to pre-plug?
Yeah.
What are they trying to build a positive association for later? But
I think Del Toro has enough positive association on his own.
Yeah,
he doesn't need the cred.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of promotion for his fish snuggle movie though.
Yeah, the idea that Marge would be in like that movie is interesting.
But it was such a bad gag, her fantasy, that it was like Homer was the fish and he burped up a Missouri license plate.
And she's like, you said you haven't been to Missouri. It's like, how did that come up in conversation with the fish man who doesn't speak?
Yeah.
I thought that as soon as they started the Del Toro Burns film, straight away I was just like, we've seen this already. We saw this with the Mr. Burns film. Thank you, Judah Ben-Hur.
Yeah.
We've already seen a glossy, idealistic fantasy version of Mr. Burns being a saint.
Yeah.
I've seen this already.
Nah, I think my biggest criticism of this episode is we spend so long on this Homer making a good video to show the judge to get off of the charge for Grand Theft Auto that we don't do anything else. We don't go into why this matters to comic book guys, so then we have to wrap it up quickly. So, something about sentimentality, and it's about the comic book, even though it was about the car buy.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that I actually think is and I'm not sure about the other episodes, I have to watch more, but if I'm not mistaken, there's only one plot line. Whereas most of the classic episodes, there's a couple of plot lines going on at the same time. Almost, it's got a more sitcom format.
Yeah, yeah.
It's less pressure on the characters to have a whole 22 minutes of being involved in the story and having to write them into the scenes. Like Lisa's Googling, so it's like, just let Lisa do her own thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it all revolves around him where, another story thread would have helped with the pacing of this one because while I agree it's like frantic, it's also like doesn't feel like much happens at the same time as well.
There are some scenes that are very much padded,
and like especially like there is something to I think the potential of a comic book guy Homer relationship, which is what leads me perfectly into the other pillar is the heart of this episode. Did we feel the emotional core of it? Pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, again, it felt like it was going to be a sentimentality about, comic book guy getting this car from his dad or restoring it with his father or something, and it just doesn't happen.
Well, interesting that you were speaking about who's it for, and you already highlighted Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Del Toro, Welcome Back Kotter. These pop culture references, nowhere near children or even teenagers.
Yeah, like Kotter I only know because they ran reruns on like Channel 9 when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
That's effectively the conclusion of this show is the Welcome Back Kotter keychain. So the idea this is aimed at anyone other than, millennial or older doesn't
maybe it's more targeted towards American. Obviously, there's so many more Americans than Australians. So it's targeted towards Americans who live in states where weed is legal. Because that would make some of these episodes maybe a bit more entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
Being on like a Colorado edible.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. No, there is a lack of focus that I'd say lines up perfectly with, them developing this show out of California, a very legal state in that respect.
No, it just feels a lot to me like one person wrote the beginning and then someone came in and wrote the middle. Then the same person from the beginning had to then make a conclusion based off that middle.
Well, even the fucking complicated writing credit for this one, story by one guy and teleplay by two other dudes who felt like one started at the end, the other started at the beginning, and they met somewhere in the middle.
It's like when you do that activity where you
Exquisite Corpse, where you write a paragraph and then the last person sees the last line.
Oh, I was more thinking the drawing version of that where you put the paper into thirds and someone draws the head, someone draws the torso, and someone draws the legs, and you don't see it until you open it up.
I think that's how we get Smithers Centaur in this episode.
Nice. Yes.
Smithers Centaur.
Yeah. No. Fucking Guillermo del Toro, he had the budget for this one. Fuck, I can't pronounce his name today. But
Greg.
Yeah.
Just call him Greg Del Toro.
I'm pretty sure Guillermo is Spanish for Greg. Yeah. But yeah, the heart is just so non-existent in this one. And like with the Welcome Back Kotter keychain as well, like Homer shows little to no reaction when that gets smashed, when this was apparently his only present from Abe.
From Abe ever. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so surface level anyway. It could have been so much deeper, but ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons? The characters behaving how you'd expect? Is this the show you came to know and love?
I don't think anyone's terribly off type. Homer does something reckless and silly. There are then consequences.
I'd say the show as a whole more doesn't feel like itself.
It's just not as cohesive as it needs to be. And again, it just sets up things that don't end up mattering.
Or very punchy, or like, because there's the old thing that, old Simpsons, they had to have, 3 jokes a page or whatever, don't let too much time go without a joke. And it just felt so joke light in this one. It just made me, wonder, is this a comedy?
It felt like an episode of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, sure.
Because in Scooby-Doo, they all go on the same mission.
Yeah.
And I think it comes back to what I was saying about just the single plot line is that there's no ease of tension because they cut to Grandpa
doing
Grandpa
whatever he's
babysitting
doing.
Maggie. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No, that issue of tension as well is, I don't feel that at all in the threat of Homer's like potential jail time as well looming, because they're just sort of I don't know, going on this silly mission, trying to make a video twice. They make the video twice about him, and it both ends up just being about, how do we edit around this sort of jokes, and just lacking the punchiness or, I don't know, relevancy.
There's one side character who appears in it who's been around for a while. I don't actually know his name. I don't know if he has a name other than that. The judge.
Oh, yeah, Judge Snyder.
That's right, Judge Snyder.
Yeah, we get a little bit of background in that apparently he's divorced and can only see his kids like a little bit. Like,
is that in a later episode?
No, that was in this one.
I must have tuned out.
Yeah,
believe it or not.
Yeah, and just weirdly mean to Homer and totally biased. Like, he's never been shown to be more than a judge.
Which is surprising because, he should be an upstanding citizen given that is a judge. So he's got some skeletons in that closet.
Yeah, so it sort of feels like The Simpsons, but weak. But yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
Definitely not.
I don't feel like I have anything else to gain from this.
Well, episodes that we might not like to watch again, we like to think about what we'd change. BT.
Well, I've already talked about it. Like, just make it about comic book guy's car, because that's the point. Or that he starts, suing over the comic book, but really it's about the damage to the car, and that's why it's just, and then make it about his relationship with his father and why this means something to him, and then that ties into the, the gift Homer got from his father in the form of the keychain. It's a good parallel. Like, well, I got this car from my dad and it's meant a lot for and you got a keychain. They're significantly different values, but they mean the same thing because that's where they came from and what they mean to me. It's already there. That's kind of the bizarre thing. And then it's just never put upon because we have to spend all this time watching Homer make a video about how nice he is. And it's just, why is that? So I would remove that whole making the video thing. Fuck that off forever. Because we have Marge visit Comic Book Guy to be like, Homer didn't mean it. Can we just make it up to you? Have that be Homer, and then Comic Book Guy starts sending him on a bunch of ridiculous errands or makes him be his friend if you want to go that angle. And then over time, they learn what the car actually means to him and the origins of that, and maybe they restored it forever, and it's actually a reference to a film they both really loved, blah, 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 a reference. He gets pop culture stuff, yada, yada, yada. And then you have an actual resolution.
Yeah. What about you, Marty? What would you like to change about this one?
I think I just realized that one of the things I would change, and it might not be specific to this episode, but in general, is I think when you have a show where the characters don't age, how do the characters evolve if they have to stay at the same kind of intellectual age? And I noticed that in Lisa and Bart are put quite quickly into the brains of the operation role, which it's a cartoon, obviously, so it's unrealistic. But I think keeping some of the episodes that have the most heart throughout the entire first half of Simpsons that I've watched is when the kids are being kids. Bart versus Lisa playing hockey. That's kid emotions, kid feelings.
Yeah, that's the highest stakes of their lives because they're 8 and 10.
Yeah, Bart being in love, Lisa being in love for the first time, school, Lisa's substitute teacher leaving. Let them be kids because, child emotions are the most raw.
Yeah.
And if you don't give the kids license to be emotional like kids, then everyone's adults, and that's not fun. Well, I suppose Homer's the child, but then, anyway, that's what I would change.
But yeah, it stops these stories from being, at all relatable, Lisa the 8-year-old is going to get on Final Cut Pro to make the video to appeal to the court about her dad. Like, what? No. It's hardly a relatable thing. And yeah, it's such a weird thing for them to hang on so long as well. And briefly mentioned old Gil before, and that whole interaction was pointless because she doesn't end up going with him anyway. And it's just... he's got a vitamin E deficiency. So sad. I just wanted more of Homer and Comic Book Guy in this episode. Marty, there's an episode we reviewed somewhat recently, Chief of Hearts, where Homer and Chief Wiggum become best friends. And it's just so nice because it works so well. It's like, wait, why didn't we do this 20 years ago? This is nice.
They've dabbled.
Yeah. They've like when they did the Thelma and Louise episode and they're chasing after.
And the Pin Pals and the B Sharps.
Yeah. No, they've all had things
In groups.
where, they've been like, but yeah, this is an episode sort of focused on them being friends, and like that's kind of what I wanted to see here. I think it's like a trite thing of like, yeah, a person having a friendship while they're lording over, you know, a thing over them. You know, you have to be my friend or else you go to prison. But like, I think it could work with these two, and I just wish they had a lot more faith in their story and a lot less faith in the whole making a video thing because. Is this a thing? I am not sure. Well, actually, with comic book, because it's implied at the start that comic book guy has like, you know, the hot cheerleader girlfriend and like blue smoke in Homer's face at this car. Like, maybe there could have been a thing with that. Like that, yeah, they did know each other from all this time ago and there was resentment there. Perhaps. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, we're here. Does anyone have any other notes about this episode they want to mention before we move on to the rankings?
I do like the line of, let's just add this to the list of things we don't tell your mother about. Also the fact that there's a list.
Yeah, not a bad
line. I got a
line.
chuckle out of that.
I actually got a chuckle out of the line. His favorite thing is Star Wars, and he hates Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's how negative he is.
Yeah.
I had a real problem with how they kind of phrase the main problem because, you know, comic book guy initially says, you know, finds out about the comic book. He says, I'll sue you for this and walks off. And then Wiggum arrests Homer. But it's like, you don't get arrested for being sued.
Yeah.
What it should have said is, I'm pressing charges for the Grand Theft Auto. That's the line they should have used because it's just clearer then for the rest of it. Because the rest of the... I was there going, but why is he facing jail time? He's being sued. You can't be put in prison for being sued. It's like, no, it's not about the suing. It's about the Grand Theft Auto. It's like, that's the charge. It's just a little small tweak to make that just clearer.
One of the things that upset me in a similar way but different was I don't know why, but IRL like footage in Simpsons is still
weird.
a bit
Oh,
weird.
I hated this
And when
bit.
they go, let's look at a video of ducks eating watermelon, and then it cuts to Homer also eating watermelon on Lisa's bed. Why are we doing this?
Right, like the ducks eat fine, whatever.
South Park can get away with it.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's always something weird about live action in Simpsons, and then having Homer copy it. I don't. Why was
I hate when Lisa shouts, "Epilogue! No, it's still plot. Plot."
Yeah, but at least they got the designation correct. I did kind of like when they're trying to make the video and they go to Skinner and he just goes, Homer Simpson. He has 2 kids who go here. That's all I'm comfortable saying.
Yeah.
Just a bit of an anticlimax. I like that.
We get a little cameo from the Disenchantment trio.
We do. Oh shit.
Do either of you guys like Disenchantment?
I've watched. God, I can't remember how many seasons it is. One less than the maximum. And it's a really good example of what gets made when you don't have to try.
Yeah.
Like, the core of it is fine. It just needs to be tightened up by people who don't know they're going to have as many seasons as they pay for. Like, they can do whatever they want because it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Did you ever check it out, Marty? Or?
No. I was going to ask you to repeat the stuff about the things. The things? I don't know what that is.
Oh, you don't know what Disenchantment is? Oh, it's the show Matt Groening and like a lot of Simpsons and Futurama alum made for Netflix.
I saw the trailer. Yeah.
So it has a promising start, actually. I got to say, those first 3 episodes are pretty good.
And like, there are some parts of it that really do shine, but a lot of the episodes just run longer than they need to. And if they had that constraint of, no, you have 23 minutes to make the audience laugh, or you're going off air next season, that pressure would cause them to work harder. But because it's Matt Groening and he doesn't have to care, and none of the other writers really have to care about it, it's just like, oh, we'll do whatever, it'll be fine. Yeah. And it's just got that air of half effort to it.
And yeah, my last note is they do that annoying fucking 4th act coda to the episode where, Bart escapes Skinner by doing his own video, but leaves his laptop there. Yeah, that was process.
The joke I was okay with, that, Skinner watches the video, then looks and goes, what did you expect to get out of detention for this? And Bart's already run away. I'm like, yeah, that's fair. But then, the idea he's going to have to come back for his life. If they just card cut then, I wouldn't have had time to think about, well, he's got to come back for his laptop.
Yeah.
But, oh well, they just let it run for a bit too long. I had another note. No, that was just about a thing we already talked about where it's about Homer's all like, how much could an old comic book cost? And then Bart walks up to him and starts whispering something. A, the fact that the cost of the comic book is never a feature makes this pointless. And B, this is literally neither showing nor telling.
Yeah.
It's literally nothing. I think I need to just point at it again and say, do not do that.
All right. Well, it is time to rank this thing. But first, Marty, we've asked you a lot of questions today. What comes next is the most important question we ask. BT.
Yes. All right. So our final question we like to ask all our new guests is, if you could have a sandwich named after you, what would be on that sandwich? If I'm going into a cafe, I'm sitting down, I'm ordering the Marty, what am I getting?
This is a very Curb Your Enthusiasm question.
Yeah.
It's a lot to spring on people. We know that.
Well, if it's going to be the type of sandwich I'm going to have, the sandwich will have... I like egg on a sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like a bit
Controversial, but good,
of like a boiled egg sliced up.
I was going to ask, how do you want your eggs done?
Yeah, like a boiled egg sliced up, avocado, beetroot, alfalfa sprouts, and maybe like a bit of sriracha sauce.
Yeah.
Wholesome with a bit of
and
pep.
some type of like cheese above tasty.
Yeah.
Could be Swiss, it could be Jarlsberg, something to give
Something
it-
with some bite.
Yeah, that's a pretty dense sandwich, but I think that's what if I go to like a sandwich place where they've got all the ingredients there. I really love corn, but it doesn't stay on a sandwich. It just falls off.
It's an issue.
So yeah, that's the Marty.
Nice. Second one to pick up that it's a slight tribute to Curb this question as well. Amelia Navasquez, I think it was, tried to order the Larry David as well, but was like, wait, no, that sandwich would actually legit be disgusting. So
Yeah. Well, I suppose I got to specify that it's the Marty Bright, not the Marty Funkhauser. Don't want to get mixed up. Larry.
I swear I watched that clip of him telling Jerry Seinfeld the fucking
Oh, so good.
the joke.
You're my best friend, Larry. Best friend, really?
Your guts in the sink. All right, well, it is time to rank this thing. So, on the Simpsons Index, we rank using a 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe if the episode was just meh, you give it participant. But for the positive rankings, you got okay bronze, good silver, excellent gold. But for the best of the very best, the fucking excellent Simpsons episodes, the episodes which the Simpsons could not exist without, you give cubic zirconia. I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. I think I am going to land on a participant for this one. It's just mostly boring. I don't think it does anything so wrong that I'd call it a failure, but definitely doesn't do anything so right I'd call it a bronze. BT.
Yeah, I'm the same page. I'm going to mostly forget this one, even though I have problems with its fundamental core. Those are problems. They're not mistakes. It could have made it better, but you didn't, break it in half by doing something incredibly stupid with its actual plot line. And I got a few chuckles out of this one. So, yeah, it's mostly just going to slip out of my head. Participant from me.
And what you reckon, Marty?
And the hardest part of my job, the cuts. Okay. Yeah, I'll go participant. I don't have as many reference points. So I think if I watch a few, if someone puts some toothpicks in my eyeballs and I get strapped to a chair and am made to watch more older episodes, then it might go up or down.
Yeah.
But participant seems appropriate.
Yep. All right. Well, it's doing slightly better for the season 30 average, which is currently ranked as our worst season. But yeah, this will be another unanimous participant from season 30 joining such episodes as The Clown Stays in the Picture, where Mark Maron interviews Krusty the Clown for like an entire episode.
Now that's aimed at 12-year-olds.
Yeah. All those 12-year-old WTF fans. Krusty the Clown, where he runs away and joins the circus. Working Mum, where Marge becomes a drag queen.
Oh, yeah.
Drag king or drag queen?
Drag queen.
Yeah, she gets mistaken for one because everyone thinks she's a man in drag. It's almost interesting.
Now this I gotta see.
Yeah. It's a very lukewarm, like, oh, RuPaul's Drag Race is popular. How can we cash in on this?
Yeah.
Bring in.
It's got some ideas they don't quite come together from memory.
Yeah. But yeah, that about does it for the Simpsons Index for today. Marty, thank you so much for coming in and joining us tonight.
You're very, very welcome. Thanks for having me in your comfy abode.
You can't see. He's leaned back on the Simpsons Index lazy boy recliner.
We should get one of those.
Look at me. I'm a millionaire.
Twirling his gun. But do you have anything to plug? Where can people find you and stuff?
Marty is Bright is my Instagram, and hopefully in the future we'll have some more Springfield trivia and sing-along events happening. Otherwise,
that does sound very cool.
Yeah, come and see me do some more stand-up comedy around town. And Marty Bright, I'm also on YouTube and Facebook. It's a pretty unique name, Marty Bright Comedy, and my face normally pops up.
Yep.
Unless there's another Marty Bright out there.
In which case, Highlander, there can be only one.
Exactly. Yeah. It's probably him.
But yeah, also you did a really good episode of Community Notice Board earlier in the year as well.
Oh, thanks.
Talking about Ride. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
Thanks. Yeah, that was really fun. The Community Notice Board is a fun podcast to be on and to listen to.
No, I absolutely love those guys. Had them on reviewing Marge versus the Monorail, where I got to do my own little Community Notice Board episode and tell them about the Sydney Monorail, so that was fun.
Oh, nice.
And BT, what else? What are we doing?
Well, if you go right now, do it, to patreon.com/SideQuest Studios, you can check out the blanket for everything that we do here at SideQuest Studios. And for as little as $5 a month, that's right, only $5 a month,
$5.
you get access to get this, 100 exclusive podcasts. We recently recorded our 100th. We got a whole variety of shows there made just for you, wonderful patrons.
Man, in 100 episodes of spruiking this podcast, no one's done the fucking $5 get out of here bit. Fucking well done.
They got these big chewy pretzels.
And we will tell you, you have an ass that doesn't quit.
Yes.
Yeah, every week we're releasing a new bonus show over there. Lots of Simpsons-focused content. But the show that we're doing lately that, really excited and love doing at the moment is Starring Springfield, where we're reviewing movies that star the cast of The Simpsons. So, yeah, we've done ones like Maximum Overdrive, the 98 Godzilla. Marty, can you think of any movies that star The Simpsons?
Yes. Along Came Polly.
Oh.
Really? Who's in that?
Hank Azaria.
Oh, true.
He plays the French guy. Are you for Scuba?
That could be. We could do that.
That's actually not a bad movie.
Give some hot.
Philip Seymour Hoffman's in that.
Oh, wow.
He's really funny in it.
Ben Stiller's like an insurance
Ben
assessor.
Stiller, Jennifer Aniston, and Philip Seymour Hoffman.
There we go. And Hank Azaria.
That's a cast. Yeah.
But no, we haven't reviewed that one yet.
Mystery Men.
We haven't reviewed that one yet. That's
an obvious we haven't hit yet.
So, yeah, one of the Patreon perks as well. If you sign up, you get to suggest what movies we review, and we haven't done either of those.
You can make us review classics like that or total garbage. We will have to watch it.
So, yeah, go check that out, patreon.com/SideQuest Studios. But, yeah, until then, that's it for me. And, thank you once again, Marty.
Bye-bye.
And thank you, BT.
Hoi hoi.
And I've been Elliot Jay O'Neill. That's all the mustard in the house.
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can also check out our other shows, like Pulp Fury Radio, our scripted fiction podcast, which tells all original stories across a range of pulp genres, and Thrones of Game, where we review Game of Thrones in reverse order. Links to those podcasts and more will be available in the show notes. Now, there's no bonus scenes for this episode, so we'll catch you next week.